to the Undrafted. Hey guys, welcome to the Undrafted podcast. It's a special edition of the GOP debate. It's a review. I'm your host, Scotty D. You can find me at Depot12S on Twitter. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, because it really helps me out and it really doesn't cost you much, or anything at all, and it doesn't really take much time, but it really does help me out. So I'd appreciate you guys doing that. Please like, subscribe, and all that good shit. Let's start off with who I thought had good nights. Tonight, I thought Senator Ted Cruz had a really good night, along with Donald Trump. I think they both made good points. I think Trump, this may have been his best debate yet. Him and Cruz battled at times, and I think they both came out in the positive, and I think they'll probably both be picking up steam, and it's starting to look more like a two-person race excuse me, between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. The third person that I thought had a good debate tonight, and I'm surprised that I'm actually even saying this, is Governor John Kasich. He's usually the person I pay no attention to. I really don't care what he has to say, and that changed for me tonight. I don't know, I just started to agree with a few of the things that he said. I know he's a career politician, and it's not going to win him the race, not this year, but he may be running for a VP gig. And some of the quotes I'll get into in a little bit that he had, I think he actually had a decent night. And it shocked me. It really did. People that didn't have technically bad nights, but I don't think they really moved the needle enough for themselves in the positive manner, would be Governor Jeb Bush and Senator Marco Rubio. I think if both those guys wanted to make a move, it needed to be tonight, because they've been losing traction. I mean, Bush has been losing traction from the start, but Rubio, it's kind of a new thing that he's been falling further and further behind. And I don't think he came out that strong tonight. Some people may disagree with me, but they can create their own podcast if they want. People that I thought had bad nights. Let's start off with Senator Rand Paul. He didn't even show up because he thought that he was entitled to the primetime debate, and they were throwing him in the quote-unquote JV debate. So he basically took his ball and went home. And to me, that's a quitter. That's being a quitter, and I'm not about that life. I think he really screwed up tonight. He was bitching about national exposure and not getting enough of it. Well, you had a perfect opportunity presented to yourself tonight to basically take the main stage in that JV debate and take it over. And he chose to pass on that opportunity. He probably felt that he was being downgraded. And I think his campaign is slowly coming to a halt. He may be the next to drop out, honestly. Other people I thought had bad nights. Carly Fiorina. She is either incompetent and uninformed, or she just flat out lied tonight, and that really pisses me off. She said that Iran violated the Geneva Convention, which, according to CNN earlier in the night, is completely false, that they did not violate the Geneva Convention, that we're not at war with Iran, so it's impossible for them to violate the Geneva Convention. Do I agree with what Iran's doing right now, the way that they treated our sailors? And I definitely don't agree with that at all. But to say that they violated the Geneva Convention is taking it a little bit too far. I also hate the nuclear deal that we negotiated with Iran. But at the same time, you can't go and you can't just make up facts because you don't like something and the way that it was done. And she really disappointed me with that, because I try to follow politics a little bit, but I certainly don't follow it enough to where I'm one of the most informed people. Like, I could be a host of Fox News or CNN or something like that. And for me to catch her in a lie, that's pretty bad. So I was pretty pissed off when I figured that one out for myself pretty quickly. I think, well, let's get into John Kasich and a couple of the quotes that I really liked from him tonight. He said he's for common sense regulations. That was his quote, and I really like that. I think it makes sense. It's common sense. You know what I mean? Next quote. I'm for free free trade but fair trade. Again, makes sense. It's common sense regulations. And that's where I think Kasich actually bumped himself up a little bit. Like I said, it may be for a VP gig, but maybe he got himself in that running. Who knows? It all depends on who the GOP nominee ends up being. And lastly, he said, you can't do on-the-job training. I've seen it before with the Soviets, and that was clearly a shot at Donald Trump. To be truthful, I mean, that's one of the biggest questions that I have with Trump is his experience. But at the same time, I think Trump is a smart individual, and he will surround himself with smart individuals because it makes himself look better. He's really about making America great again. He wants to be the president that turned things around after the past 15 or so years that we've had, where we've slowly been going down since maybe the Clinton administration. But then again, you can't fault George Bush for that. I mean, he had a war, put on his plate, and kind of dropped the ball getting into Iraq. But that's a story for another day. I really wish that first podcast didn't have that choppiness and echo and nails on a chalkboard, because I really wasn't. It definitely was a lot smoother. But let's. I'm not gonna keep bitching. I'm gonna get into it and give you the facts, because this is for the people right now. I'm worried about Governor Chris Christie and Senator Rubio, that they may get us into too many problems. Christie talked a lot tonight about going to war with ISIS and taking out Assad, and I question if that's going to leave us stretched too thin. Remember, our military was really stretched thin when we got into Iraq. Now, if you want to take out ISIS, that means that you're going to be in Iraq and Syria. If you want to take out Assad, you're already in Syria. But to completely defeat ISIS, does that mean that you're going to go to Africa and possibly Afghanistan or Pakistan, where there's little pockets popping up here and there? Because I think that could be a big problem. You really don't want to stretch yourself too thin, and I can't stress that enough. And that's something that really worries me about Christie and Rubio, because Rubio made a few remarks tonight that made me feel that way about him. Then again, you look at Cruz, and Cruz says he wants to carpet bomb ISIS. So what does that mean? But I think Jeb Bush, he had a few good quotes tonight. He said Hillary Clinton would be a national security mess. That is a great quote from Jeb. He also said that it was shameful that 23 million documents ended up in the hands of the Chinese. Another good point for Jeb. I think it's just too little too late at this point. He's not the candidate for this election. He's an establishment candidate, and it doesn't look like they're going that way. As you can see, the top two people right now are Cruz and Trump in the polls, and they're anti-establishment always. So that doesn't fare well for Jeb. The last thing that I really liked that Jeb said was candidates are talking about, and I'll add in, arguing over bills that never passed. So they're spending time up there bitching and moaning and arguing about bills that never even passed in the Senate floor. So he's basically saying, like, why are we wasting our time? This isn't even a law. Like, you're talking about something that doesn't make sense. So I tweeted out last night when I saw this that Senator Cruz possibly took up to $1 million from Goldman Sachs as a loan. His wife also works at Goldman Sachs, and apparently, according to Cruz, he took a loan against their assets and basically liquidated all of his funds. The New York Times or the I'm not sure. It might have been the Times or the Post. I'm not sure which one of them. Whichever one hates Cruz, apparently, according to Cruz, said that that he didn't disclose this $1 million loan, and Cruz chalked it up to making a paperwork error, and that doesn't look good. I don't know if it'll end up biting him in the ass, but that doesn't sound good, at least. Chalking something up to a paperwork error when it comes to not disclosing $1 million, especially when it comes from Goldman Sachs, who donated a lot of money to Barack Obama. and was really one of the top super PACs behind Barack Obama's administration. So if you have Ted Cruz taking money from the same people that Obama did, that kind of creates a question there. I also want to put this out there for everybody right now. I am an independent. I'm a registered independent voter. I will be forever for my whole lifetime. I think it's stupid to align yourself one way or another. I think my thing is I'm going to vote for the best candidate that I think is best for the job, and I think that's just the smartest way to look at it. Hey, if you want to be for a certain party, more power to you, but I'm going to go with who I think is best for the job. A smart move by Trump was putting the quote-unquote question mark over Cruz's head on the Democrats. Now, he's the one that's bringing this to the forefront, saying, I don't know if Cruz is legally able to run for the United States presidency. And he's throwing it on the Democrats, basically, you know, like playing hot potato, saying, this isn't me coming at you right now, but I'm just the one talking about it, which is a very smart move by Trump. That led to Cruz, though, being very quick on his feet to say, well, Donald, after Donald had said, I may consider you as a VP possibly, but I don't want the Democrats coming at me and suing us, saying that we're not doing things legally right now. And then Cruz came back very, very quick on his feet, and I give him a lot of credit for this. He said something to the effect of, well, you can run as VP for me, and therefore turning the tables and saying when they kick me out of office, now it'll be left for you. And Trump scoffed at it at first, didn't understand where Cruz was going, and then chuckled. So, I mean, they battle a little bit back and forth, but you could see that there's a bond between the two of them. And I think whoever gets the nomination, you're looking at possibly a Trump-Cruz ticket or a Cruz-Trump ticket. I really do believe that. Rubio said we can't have a president that supports Planned Parenthood and gun control. And that was a shot at Chris Christie, who I'm not a big fan of. Chris Christie came back and said, I rejected a 50 cal ban in New Jersey. I also rejected shortening the length on clips. And he also said that Common Core has been eliminated in New Jersey. This is why we need a fact checker, because like I said, I try to follow this stuff and I don't even know if he's telling the truth. There's just too many candidates at this point to know everything about everybody. So you need fact checkers, you need people, but then you have the biases coming in from the right and left wing, and you don't know who to believe half the time. And that's where your mind can get spun around into circles, and you're left, you know, really wondering what the hell, who's telling the truth. I'm just gonna say when they got into bringing up Facebook and gun control, saying that it was the most talked about thing in the past month, and that's because of, you know, you have mass shootings and Obama praising for gun control. I'm personally highly against gun control. If you look throughout history, and governments that have disarmed their citizens have only gone on to tyrannize those citizens, basically, and once they disarm them. So I think that could be a very slippery slope if you start taking people's guns away. I'm definitely for regulations on guns, don't get me wrong, but I'm not for what they're doing right now, what Obama's doing right now, because I think it's stupid. And there's signs in New Hampshire saying Obama is the gun salesman of the year, because people are stocking up on weapons right now because they're afraid Obama's coming for their guns. And they're also afraid of ISIS and people like that coming into your backyard, so to say, when you're at the mall or something. You want that, or at least I want that person with the concealed carry permit there to take the shot when necessary, and I want him loaded because he's going to take that shot. A person with a concealed carry will take the shot and knock someone out at a mall or at a public place where you could have a terrorist attack. With gun control, you get into only the bad guys are left with the guns, and that's a major, major problem. Cruz nodded his head at one point after the New York comments, as if to say, good, like as if to say, well played, Donald, really well played. Trump turned Cruz's comments around on him and basically said, "I'm proud to be from New York. What we did after 9/11 was heroic, and everyone, the whole world was looking at the United States and New York, and everything that we did was unmatched, basically throughout history. We had to rebuild and create something the next day that was a massive task." And he turned everything around and turned Cruz's comments around. And Cruz really nodded to him at one point as if to say, "Hey, you kind of used my words against me," and it was well played. Cruz also said we should pass a legislation that he introduced saying if you join ISIS, you forfeit your citizenship. And hey, who the hell isn't for that? You want to join ISIS? Good luck to you. Don't come crying home when you don't get 3 square meals a day and you're sleeping in a clay hut, because it's probably not going to be all that you thought it was. And too bad for you. That was your choice. Trump said, "Who the hell has $5 billion a year to lose? That it's not that complicated. When we do business, they tax us. Look at what happened with Boeing." And then that's when him and Jeb got into it. They were taking shots back and forth at each other, talking about Boeing, and that's when Bush was saying, "Oh, when you fly back in your private jet, take a look at the Boeing company that's right down the street." When Trump is saying that Boeing is in China or wherever, and Trump just laughed him off and said, "Okay, I'll go do that, Jeb." And Trump, he knows how to work the viewers. You got to give him credit for that. He makes a mockery out of Jeb, and he really picks on Jeb, and it's hilarious to watch. But Jeb's really actually a good candidate if you look at his policies and his track record. He has a proven track record. It's just not the election for him. He's not going to win, and right now, at best, he's fighting for a VP gig. Chris Christie, I don't think he had a good night. He's not for a lot of things that I just don't agree with him in a lot of things. So I particularly am going to pay Christie no attention. I don't think he even has a shot at this. A person that I used to pay attention to was Ben Carson. Dr. Ben Carson, I used to give him a lot of credit because you won't find somebody that is more for doctors and healthcare than I am, because doctors have saved my life on more than one occasion. And they've changed my life on multiple occasions. I've had plenty of surgeries, and I absolutely love doctors, but Ben Carson has been fading fastly for me because I don't honestly believe he's qualified for the job. And that's funny to say that I believe Trump might be qualified for the job, but Carson isn't. But I just don't think he would surround himself with the same people that Trump would. And I think he needs at least at a minimum 4 more years on the job training if he really wants to be a politician. So you and Kanye, come talk to me in 2020. I'll give you my personal cell phone, and we'll talk about you running in 2020. But until then, Carson, I don't think your time is now. Trump was talking about corporate inversion, saying corporations are leaving America because they can't compete. He said it's one of the biggest problems that we have. And he's right. China manipulates their currency, and Mexico has low wages. And that's why corporations go down there, because they can find cheap labor. And Trump said that's a problem that we need to stop, and he came up with a plan to stop it. So I actually liked what he had to say there. Cruz, he said Cruz and Rubio really went into it, and this is just going to be the last thing I get into because it's been a really choppy broadcast on the second one. The first one was a lot smoother, but we had this horrible echo, and I apologize for that. I'm just getting used to this stuff, so you guys got to work with me on it, and we'll keep getting better as time goes on. But Cruz and Rubio got into it, where Cruz was saying that every export is tax-free in his plan, and every import pays a 16% business flat tax. Which is different from a tariff because it puts us on a level playing field, he says, with the rest of the world. Rubio said that he does not have a value-added tax like Ted has, and that's, again, where you need fact checkers because I don't know who to believe in it. You have Cruz, who is a master debater. He really gets praised for his debating. So and Marco also got called out last round in the debates on the Gang of Eight and stuff. So you really question some of the stuff that Marco Rubio has to say. and whether he's telling the truth or if he's just playing spin zone. Cruz said that his plan was a business flat tax and not a VAT tax. He said it's a 16% tax that allows us to eliminate the payroll tax, the death tax, and the Obamacare taxes. He said mine is a simple flat tax of 10%. He said Marcos leaves the IRS code with a highest of a 35% tax, which I don't think you or I want to be paying. And Rubio called Cruz. He said what you do is political calculation, which I'd agree with. Cruz, like I said, is a master debater, and he probably does calculate all his moves politically. And I don't agree with that. I think that you should calculate your moves by what you believe in. But at the same time, I can't fault him because look where it's got him so far. He's higher than Rubio is in the polls right now. And I think after you're going to see this become a two-person race pretty soon. I'm going to end this broadcast right now because I've really screwed it up from the start. I've just been choppy and not smooth. The first broadcast, like I said, was a lot better. But what are you going to do? You know, you just got to play with technology and make it work for you when you can. So just to review, I think Senator Ted Cruz and Donald Trump had the best nights out of everybody. I think 3 through 5 in no particular, well, actually 3 and 3 in third, I should say. See, I just can't even talk right now. I don't know. Would be Governor John Kasich, which is a surprise for me to even say that. I think he actually did really well. 4 and 5 would be a mix of Rubio and Jeb Bush. And then I think on the bad nights, you got to start with Rand Paul for skipping the debate. Follow that up with Carly Fiorina because she flat out lied or is incompetent, and I don't want that either way. And then Ben Carson's fading, and I just don't agree with Governor Chris Christie. So I'm going to end this broadcast right now because I've really screwed it up. But make sure that you like and subscribe. Follow us. Look for the Undrafted Sports podcast. We're going to have more of those. And look for Breaking Bergdahl, which is going to be season 2 of Serial Review. We're going to have episodes 1 and 2 drop early next week, so look for that. We'll be all caught up before episode 5 of Serial airs next Thursday. So look for that. I'm lucky to be joined by at Captain Collins on Twitter. He's an Army veteran, and you can also find him on the No Quitters podcast, which reviews MTV's The Challenge for with Clem and Big Cat of Barstool Sports. So make sure that you check them out. I want to say a special thanks to Dead on Dave for all his help. He's really helped me out through all my trials and tribulations trying to get this thing straightened out. And anyone else that I forgot, really appreciate you guys joining me. I've screwed it up, like I said, from the start, but it'll get better with time. I really think my first broadcast was like 45 minutes. It was really good. It's just you can't listen to it. There's an echo going on the whole time, and it's unlistenable. But this is unlistenable too because I just mumbled throughout the whole broadcast. So I'm Scotty D. You can find me at Depot12S on Twitter. That's all I have for you today. I'm just beat, and it's 1:34. I think I'm just gonna go to bed and call it quits. Give it a night. Actually, I can't call it quits because Connor would probably beat the piss out of me. I'm a no quitter. So that's it for Undrafted. Until next time, check us out on the Sports Podcast. Like, subscribe, and look for Breaking Bergdahl. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a hit. We have a special guest coming up for episodes 1 and 2, and it will be a hit. Believe me, it's going to blow the doors off the hinges. And we're really going to get things revved up. So look for us. And until then, peace.